and Trade Mission of the Israeli government here in Ghana is collaborating with NATMO for disaster preparedness. Just a couple of days ago, some residents of Accra experienced some wave shocks believed to be an earth tremor. Such activities will be dealt with if this partnership is increased. Yanif Tessel is the head of the Economic and Trade Mission here in Ghana. Thank you for your time here on the Pulse. So why now, and what will this program entail? Yanif, we're having a difficulty hearing you. If you could just unmute for us. I'm asking why now, and what will this emergency preparedness meeting entail? It appears we're having some difficulties. Here's a report for you.
Both natural and man-made are common all over the world, often necessitating emergency responses. The May 9 disaster, June 3rd disaster, Keta tidal waves disaster, and a Piatti disaster are few instances which put to test Ghana's responses to emergency and crisis management in the recent past.
This is where the water used to settle. Now you have people building in this whole area, raising the level of the land, making it impossible for the water to settle in this area.
The collaboration between the two countries is to help Ghana to check some of the circumstances which predisposes it to such disasters and mitigates their associated risks as much as possible. Head of Israeli Economic and Trade Mission to Ghana, Yanif Tessel, said his unit will be engaging some private disaster management-based companies in Israel for the implementation of the initiative in Ghana.
And we're going to present some of the solutions that help governments and relevant agencies to better prepare themselves and better cope with disasters. Solutions from mapping through satellites, seismic technologies for better predicting the earthquake, communication solutions, and more. I believe that the Israeli companies can leave a positive impression. They can set some kind of foundation for future discussion, and these discussions could be done directly. And it's the same way these agencies are selling to, these companies, some of them are also work with the Israeli government, but not necessarily, and they work with governments around the world. So the Israeli government, and especially us, the Economic and Trade Mission, our role is to set platform for such collaborations.
Israeli ambassador to Ghana, Shlomet Sofa, is optimistic Ghana will be able to adopt same measures applied by Israel to enhance its emergency preparedness and crisis management.
Although every nation is unique, many of the lessons that Israel has learned may be broadly applicable to preparation of mass casualty incidents in countries such as Ghana. I'm therefore happy that our Economic and Trade Mission has taken this initiative with NATMO to bring all of us together to have this important conversation.
Deputy Director General in charge of technical and reforms at the National Disaster Management Organization, NATMO, Saji Amedonu, revealed that though President Akufo-Addo's plan for responding to earthquake disasters is ready for launch, NATMO needs some technical assistance for its effective implementation.
But it's just that quite recently there have been a lot of earth tremors, which the experts say can be a sign that we might have a major earthquake event. So the country needs to stand ready. And we all know about 2 years back, the president actually directed and had a committee in place to design a framework for earthquake response in Ghana. And that has been done. We are in the process of implementing that. And some of the recommendations in that is to have an earthquake response plan. And in having an earthquake response plan, you must know the latest technologies and the information that will be used in responding to an earthquake event.
The forum, among others, is expected to give first responders an opportunity to appreciate innovative technologies from Israel. Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah's report for Joy News.
And Yanif Tassel is the head of the Economic and Trade Mission of the Israeli government here in Ghana. Thank you for your time. Why now, and how do you intend to roll out that exercise, sir? Kindly unmute so we are able to hear you.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, hi. Thank you for having me. Yeah, we were very excited to have this event today for the first time, introducing Israeli technological capabilities, sharing it with our partners and the agencies in Ghana. I think it's never a fun topic to speak about disasters. But you asked me why now. So I think we've all been experiencing, and a natural disaster has taken their toll in many countries. Most recently, the earthquake that struck our region, where I come from, the Middle East, especially Turkey and Syria. So I think we all realize the importance of being prepared, ready, with the ability to predict, to handle, and to recover after disaster. And it's not only natural disaster, but also addressing man-made disasters. Why Ghana? I think Israeli companies are excited to work in Ghana. I think there's a lot of untapped potential that we've started to discover today in this event we held with the great collaboration we had with NADMO. And Israeli companies are happy to share and to collaborate and share know-how and experience.
What will be the next phase of the exercise? Do we know what that would entail, and whether or not you're getting enough cooperation from the Ghanaian side?
Well, today it's maybe early to say, but I can tell you what do we expect. So I hope that different agencies will work separately with the Israeli technology providers. We as the Embassy of Israel, we hope to initiate government-to-government discussion. Like NADMO in Ghana, Israel has its own agency under the Ministry of Defense to handle and manage crisis and disasters. And we hope that we can lead a joint discussion between these two agencies, and we, the Economic and Trade Mission, will be happy to support such a discussion. We had a presentation today from the Israeli Disaster Management Agency, and I think having the same challenges, facing the same challenges, the two agencies has a lot to talk about and to discuss. We're always happy to have delegations from. Sorry, I would just say that we're always happy to host delegations in Israel and to this end.
And is it just about technology transfer, or are you equally willing to build the capacity of the Ghanaian staff who would be using this technology if indeed it is rolled
out? We're looking at both. I think Israel is known for its technology. So we're always happy to present and to share what we have to offer, and we like to offer innovative things. But collaboration and sharing know-how, as I said, in the governmental framework is something that we encourage as well. Thanks. We would be very happy to further engage with NADMO or with the different agencies and to explore what other things could be done with Israel. The embassy offer training for Ghanaians that are willing to do so, both from the public and the private sector. The training could take place in Israel or here by experts from Israel that are coming to Ghana. And we would like to also start and include disaster management, and especially floods an earthquake that Ghana is known as prone to, surprisingly or not surprisingly, to include these topical under our thematical areas that we cover in our collaborations channel with Ghana.
And if would have to leave it here, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Grateful. And now, Nana Ofori-Atta is one of Ghana's celebrated art historian. She's set to feature a new series which talks about the future of Black art and history. She's joining us via Zoom now. Thank you for your time. Help us to understand your journey, because you featured in Venice and all of the world events that we can talk about when we refer to art, and we must congratulate you for that. But just help us understand and to know how you got there. What's been your story?
So, hi, good afternoon or good evening. I first started 20 years ago, last year. I started off in politics. I worked with the United Nations, having studied politics and Russian. And then I realized while being in the United Nations that there's only so much that you can change on the political level to make like real transformation, real change. You have to really go into people's hearts, into people's souls. And so I went back to university. I did a master's in African art history, and that was the beginning of my journey.
Amazing. But how about this new project that you're embarking on? How is that likely to impact the community, the society where you come from? And what are you seeking to influence with this new project?
You're talking about the Venice Biennale?
I'm talking about the future, the new project that you're running.
Sorry, we're talking specifically about the Venice Biennale,
precisely,
right?
yes, precisely.
Okay. So, well, yeah, just to tell you a little bit about the first Venice Biennale. The Venice Biennale is like the Olympics of the art world. It's where every country is represented. And yeah, it's like the Olympics. So each country is there. And when I first started my career, I went to the Venice Biennale, and every single African country in the diaspora was all in one pavilion. It was all under a pavilion of Africa, even though all the so-called important countries had their own pavilion. And it was also half an hour away from the center, and it seemed to represent geopolitically how our entire continent was seen, that we were on the margins, that, you know, we are this monolithic, undifferentiated whole. And so, you know, and since then, I've been working really to uplift the arts, both in Ghana and internationally. I have this nonprofit, which is 20 years old now, but there's only so much impact that you can have as an independent space. To have real wide-reaching resonance, there needs to be some kind of legitimation or support from the collective authority, i.e. the state. And so I'd been lobbying different governments since I'd first started. And in 2019, I finally had the access to be able to bring Ghana to the center through this very successful national pavilion that we had at the Venice Biennale. It was our first entry, and we were in the top 3 in every single publication, whether it's Al Jazeera, The Guardian, New York Times, etc.
Seeking to change the colonial idea of how we see the museum. How are you changing that narrative?
So, yeah, we did the Venice Biennale. I'll just briefly wrap up the Venice Biennale and then move on to that. So for the first pavilion with Ghana Freedom, my vision was to work with artists who are like truly masters of their craft, and then to also interrogate this idea of, you know, we all know Nkrumah's words of Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever. But I think that to me and to many others, we're still not really free. And I feel like with these artists in particular, we wanted to interrogate where we were, how we'd gotten there, and then how we might move forward. And it was a huge success, but lots of challenges along the way. You were asking about the idea of the museum and decolonizing the museum. I think that sometimes art and culture can perpetuate the very systems of oppression that, you know, that we're trying to dismantle through art. Sometimes even I wonder with trying to bring art to things like the Venice Biennale, you know, whether in some way I'm contributing to that. And even though we're rising stars in the art world now, in the art market, through the work that we've all been doing, my underlying question is, are we really being true to ourselves? Are we doing so with integrity? We all know that so many of our structures, such as museums, are things that we inherited from colonialism. And these were built to carry forth inequality. When you go to museums in the West, they still see us or show us as other. We're still places and people to be studied and observed. And to a certain extent, we've internalized that, but yet you have our historical knowledge systems, our traditional knowledge systems, and you have art and culture standing alongside science and technology, knowledge of nature, knowledge of the mind, knowledge of the soul. So how do we connect to these indigenous knowledge systems and then show them through structures that we build and then invite communities into them?
Right. It's a really amazing story. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and we'll do this again. Thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. And that's all we have for you here on the show.